Hello everyone, today we've got a special Infinite Galaxy video. First off, face reveal. Not the first time my face has been in a video, but the first time it's been in an Infinite Galaxy video. And of course this week there has been a lot of updates for Infinite Galaxy. If you've been active in our Discord or in our Alliance, we've been talking about it all week, and I'm now finally ready to give my opinion on some of the changes. And of course, as you can see, I'm going to be given a tier list of what I think is good and bad flagship wise. And now this isn't going to be PvP orientated, this isn't going to be PvE orientated, this is going to be in general: what is good, what is bad, what do you want to keep, and what do you want to get rid of. Now this, as you've seen, is an incredibly long video, over an hour long in my recording. I'm not sure how it will turn out in edit, but it is a very long video. It goes into detail of why each flagship is good and why it is bad and why I've made my decisions. I will leave timestamps below in the description for each individual flagship that I review. However, if you want to only see the summary, if you just want to see what's the best and what's the worst and where to spend your points and where to refund your credits, go to this timestamp here. This will be where I do my summary. Super short summary of what's good and what's bad. Anyway, let's get back into the video. Get rid of being this fleet adjustment event that's on just now. Now this is new for my server, but I know it's been in other servers for a bit now. But right here we've got the flagship reset, where we can reset our flagships. Now I've already reset mine, apart from this little guy here, which we'll reset later. Yeah, this will let you reset your progress on any flagship that you want, well, 5 times, and redistribute those credits into other flagships, of course, through the blueprint purchase shop in here. You see I've got quite a lot of purple credits now, because the big one, I've refunded my Hercules, which is something I think everyone should be doing. And I'll get into that. I'll get into the reasons why that is in just a moment. So yeah, we've got the flagship reset, and big change I really like. I don't know if this is new with the update or it's just a periodic thing that gets introduced, but the ship exchange, I love it. I had a bunch of cruisers. I don't run any cruiser fleet, so I transferred all of those into destroyers and frigates, which are my 2 main fleets. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm going to be looking at this tier list down in the bottom right. I hope it's... First off, I want to take a look at some very common ships that everyone will have, and then get into the legendary ships. So first off, the Jason. Pretty much everyone in the game will have the Jason by now. It's from events, it's from campaign, you get it from doing anything. So this is a nice early game ship. It's got the main things that we're going to be looking at in this video are the abilities. The base stats, they kind of matter, but they don't really, because the bonuses that you'll get applied, let's just look at my Hades for example. It's just ridiculous increases, and as they level up, you'll see they scale pretty well altogether. But the main thing we're going to be looking at is these abilities down here. Now, the Jason, of course, is a laser ship. It is, of course, a Galeran ship and a mobility ship. Now, those of you that are in our Discord, by the way, if you aren't in the Discord, you should join it. We get some early discussions in there, and we discuss before I make the videos. And, of course, you can have a chance to join the Alliance. Anyway, those that are in the Discord or in the Alliance know that I am not a fan of navigation speed abilities. So seeing this mobility up here is a big red flag for me. But we'll go through it anyway. So first off, we have the load bonus. Now, as I said, the Jason is quite a good early game ship. This load bonus, it means you don't have to build as many ships. Now, if you are wanting to gather, of course, you want to build the tier 2 destroyers. It gives you the most load. And with this bonus, you won't have to make as many, you won't have to use as much early game resources into doing that. Of course, it's a very minor increase, but it is still something. Then we've got the Galeran speed up for all resources. Now this is only 10% at level 1, but it's something. It's something to get early game. I would say pretty much everyone should have the Jason, and I don't think you should reset it. I think maybe go for the 20% Galler speed increase, because let's be real, you're going to be using, there's not that many Galler ships, you're going to be using this for your entire playthrough if you're bothered enough to change out your flagships to go Galler. Now if you're a big spender and you don't Galler at all, of course this ship is garbage. But in general, we're going to be putting this, if I can find it in the list, there it is, we're going to be putting this in B class. I think everyone should have one that wants to Galler, and I don't think the stats are that bad other than this navigation speed, which is completely useless. I think armor, of course, it's just something that's there, but you're not really going to be using this for PvE or PvP. Maybe you want to use this navigation speed to get somewhere really quick, but other than that, you're not going to be using this ship for anything other than Gallering. Next on the list is the Jason's little baby brother, the Argo. Pretty much whenever you downgrade a ship from purple to blue or legendary to purple, it's just the same stats but decreased. So you see here we've got the 10% Galler speed for the Jason, and then that gets decreased to 7% Galler speed for the Argo. So because of that, pretty much all of these, like, you're never going to unlock this for the Jason anyway. That is a complete waste. You shouldn't go past level let's see, rank 3, because that will increase this Galler speed up. But yeah, it's pretty much the same tier as the Jason, but obviously when you downgrade from purple to blue, it obviously loses a rank. Now in this case, with the Argo, it is such a small amount that you're gaining, 7%, that's nothing. If you go look at your spaceport details, you'll see down here that you actually have really high Galler speeds for everything already. Yeah, so nearly 200% for me, and I'm not that progressed in this yet. So 7% is nothing. 10%, you could argue that you're getting something from it. You may as well switch out. 7%, I wouldn't bother wasting the resources. Keep it at level 1 and just throw it in there if you have a spare slot, because of course now you can equip 2 flagships at the same time. Let's go back here. Yeah, so Argo, we're going to be putting that pretty low down. We're going to be putting it into the E, because you don't, if you've got other ships, you're going to be resetting this and you're never going to use it again, because that 7% is nothing. You could argue the same thing with the Jason, but I feel like the Jason, for free to play players especially, you're going to be using it whenever you're gathering resources, so you may as well keep it in there as a higher tier ship. Actually, you know what, we're going to downgrade it to C. Change my mind while I've been talking. Okay, so next we've got the Hercules, the ship that absolutely everyone in the game will have because you start with it. Beautiful looking ship, looks amazing. They've obviously put a lot of detail into it. However, it is only good in your early game, so you're going to be using this ship to progress in your campaign mainly, and once the campaign is out of the way, there's not really much else to do. I'll show you how far I've got. It's definitely the best ship for the campaign until you unlock its bigger brother, which I'll get onto later. So yeah, I've managed to get to 6.5, of course with some missing, with a level 30. Now I didn't film me resetting it, but it was level 30, whatever rank that you get from just playing the campaign, and I reset it because I'm now done with this ship. I feel like I've got as far in the campaign as I can, and I don't want to well, I want to respend those points into something else, which I'll get into later. So yeah, the stats here are pretty good. You want to be using it for PvE events, but other than that, I would say it's pretty okay to reset. Like this buff here, it's the last one in it's the last ability that you unlock, and the stats just aren't that good. Leadership, that's the other one. I do not like navigation speed, and I do not like leadership buffs. This in late game, that's completely irrelevant. 1,500, even max rank 1,500, that's not a lot, and that's a lot that you're spending to get that. Then we've got these just basic buffs across the board, the 4%, 8%, then that's nothing. Then we've got when attacking non, this is the important one, you're getting a little bit of boost here. Now there's something I want to point out in one of the future ships that I review, but let's look at this. This is the first unlock for the Hercules, 10% for attacking non-player units. I want to show you something in this ship right here. Now this is a Galeran ship, but look at this. You're getting 100% in max rank. This Galeran ship that's not really, I don't think the developers meant for it to be that powerful, but this is better than the Hercules when it comes to PvE. So yeah, we'll get into that in more detail later. So anyway, Hercules, it's good for the start, of course. You're going to be doing all your events with it until you unlock better ships, and then I'd say once you reach about the same rank as me in the campaign, that's the job of the Hercules done. You can get rid of it and repurpose those points. Next is not the Nemesis. We're going to go on to the big brother of the Hercules. It's the Prometheus. Now the Prometheus, it's again the same abilities, but buffed up, and you get this extra level rank 7 ability, which if you're reading it is very good. You get 200% increase to fleet power. You get negative attack for your enemies for 5 seconds. Now you might have noticed since this update, this has been added. This is a brand new thing that's been added to the game, and since this update, you'll notice there's like a huge burst in attack at the very start of attacking anyone. Sorry, I keep looking over there, the camera's up there. That is because of this ability on any of the ships. Anyone that's got this, they're going to be bursting down a lot faster. They're going to be getting through their stuff a lot faster and doing a lot more damage at the start. And of course that damage at the start is crucial because that gives you that early advantage. And then the cooldown is 12 seconds, so for these big events, that's, you're going to be at least popping this I'd say 2, maybe 3 times. So yeah, Prometheus is, I forgot to rank the Hercules. The Hercules is of course rank B. I think everyone should have it, but it is going to be refunded. Actually, you know what, we're going to put it down to C. I'm changing my mind as it goes. This is exciting. I originally would say B, but because you're definitely going to be refunding it, let's put it down to C. If this was, again, this is a general review of all the ships. If we're talking about just late game, this is garbage. You don't want to be having this ship. If we're just talking about the early game, this is god tier. You want to be having this ship. But for just in general purpose, we're going to be putting it in C because it is good early game, but you will definitely refund it, in my opinion. That's another crucial thing. This is just my opinion. I know there are some people that disagree with some of the things, but I feel like I've done enough research to establish what I think is appropriate for these tiers. So anyway, let's rank the big brother of the Hercules, the Prometheus. We're going to be putting this in god tier. God tier is the must-have tier. Everyone should have this ship essentially. Now the best thing about the Prometheus is if you come over here and you go to your campaign shop, you're going to be buying this from the campaign shop pretty much every time. Every refresh you're going to be wanting to buy one of these to get your daily mission up, to be buying something in here, but usually the stuff that's here isn't that good, so you want to do your one refresh for free, see if anything appeals to you based on this tier list that I'm making, and if not, you want to be getting your Prometheus. If you are getting enough points daily, you want to just be maxing this out and get as many as you can every single day, and you'll eventually, in the late game, you'll have that max ranked. Okay, so Prometheus in short is a must-have. Everyone should have it. Of course it's going to take until pretty late in the game to unlock it, but you should definitely grab that ship. It is a must-have. Okay, next we've got the Athena. Now the Athena is, if you have it, it's nice to have as a secondary ship, and I say that only because this update has came out where you're allowed to put secondary ships, but on its own, it's pretty bad. I wouldn't advise putting any money into getting it. I wouldn't advise putting campaign credits into getting it. If you happen to get it from an event where, I don't know, Galaxy Star suddenly changes to give you Athena, then sure, build it and put it as your secondary ship if you're lacking ships. But in general, I would say no, this is a bad ship. I would even go to put it in D category. If I can find it, there it is. Let's just go through its abilities just to entertain. It's flagship attack, absolutely useless. Maybe helpful in the campaign, but there's just other ships that are better. This 250%, that is very good. So potentially, if this was max ranked, it'd fly you through the campaign, but let's be real, it's got no other purpose, so you don't want to be spending that much money to get this up high ranked. Then we've got this. I want to experiment more with these changes. So that's repaired ships. There's more repaired ships and there's less lost ships. That's what severely damaged means. Or sorry, losses too severely damaged. That means you can't use it in a future battle, but you can repair them. So I want to experiment more with this, but in general, no, it's not that good. There's just other better ships out there. Warship range, it means that you're less likely to die. That's pretty much it. And big fights, solo, this is completely useless. Sure, you begin your attack sooner, but that is it. Then we've got flagship HP, again useless. Warship HP, the warship HP is a good buff to have, but these stats are just not good. And then finally this, it's just, again, not. That's a lot of armor reduction, but again, no. So we're going to be keeping that in the D. Maybe E. Oh, maybe. We'll keep it in D for now. Next up, we have got the controversial ship in my alliance. Some of us believe that this is a very good ship. Some of us think it is awful. I am in the group that think it is awful. I do not think that anyone should be getting this ship, but there is some compelling arguments for getting it. Now this ship, the main way to get this ship is of course the VIP store. You need to be at least VIP treatment in the VIP store. You need to be at least VIP 8, I believe. Yeah, VIP 8, and that's a lot of money to be spending on this, but you do get 300 of them. That, I think, at least puts you to rank 3, I think maybe rank 4. No, rank 4 is 200, I believe, so no, it won't put you to rank 4. But yeah, that's just too much of an entry requirement. If you're a big spender, sure, maybe, but let's go into the abilities and get to why I don't like this ship. So we've got 4.5% base range. These just aren't good. The buffs themselves would be good, but the stats are not. Then we've got armor and shield. These stats are actually respectable, but and it gives both of them, so that's pretty good. But again, they're not that great. There's better out there. It's one of these ships that's trying to be an all-rounder and mixed, and these just generally aren't that good. Then we've got the killer for me. The fourth ability is navigation speed up, where it gives you navigation speed and fleet limit. The two things that I do not like. These numbers here for fleet limit, that's pathetic numbers for a legendary ship. I can't believe they have such low numbers for a legendary ship. And the speed, 35% speeds thereabouts. That's okay if you get it to max rank, but max rank is a lot of money. So no, this is, may as well not have this ability. and have a vacant slot in there. So no, I would definitely, for me, I think this is a garbage ship. I don't think anyone should be wasting their time with it, and I'm going to be putting it down there, unfortunately. We can look at the other abilities. We get, when attacking other commanders, we get HP increase. This is a pretty good stat, especially for PvP, of course. And then we get the usual in here. This minus attack is pretty low compared to the other buffs that you'll be seeing in other ships. So again, just not great. So yeah, I'm going to keep that in the garbage tier. In my opinion, that is in much need of a big buff. Now we're going to be moving on to the Poseidon. Now this ship is going to be your mixed best defense ship. If you are not all frigates, you're not all, well, that's pretty much it for defense. If you're not all frigates, this is your best defense ship. It's got some pretty impressive stats, and you'll see why I dislike the other ships based on this guy's stats, because these are very good stats. Actually, let me just make that tail, it's just a little bit smaller there. But yeah, and this is your mixed best defense ship. It would be a higher tier if it wasn't for the reclaim feature, but now that you can reclaim, exchange your ships to be all frigates, I think the Artemis pulls ahead of it. But yeah, I do think this is a very good ship. All its abilities are fairly standard. There's nothing that really stands out other than this big boy here, which we'll get to. The armor mechanic in the game isn't explained very well, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure how armor affects too much. I know loosely that it splits it between shield and HP, but I'm not confident in my knowledge of armor. So perhaps this is the hero in disguise, where it's actually much better than I think. But for now, with my current knowledge, I'll give you my take on these abilities. So HP increase, fairly standard. Armor and shield, again fairly standard. It's pretty much, it is the exact same stats here, so it's as if you're getting all of these buffs here with respectable numbers. It's not that great, but it's not bad. Then we've got when attacking other commanders, you're going to be gaining some attack. You'll be gaining some attack, and you'll be gaining some shield. These numbers on the low end are pretty bad, but towards the high end, pretty good. And then we've got the big one, the thing that stops this from being garbage tier. This guy right here, total warship armor. First unlock is 54%. The last unlock is 302%. Now, why do I think this is good? I have been playing, I forget the name of it now. The event where you send your flagships and ships through the kind of roguelike experience of going Star Sector is what it's called. From that, I did an experiment with the latest one where I got armor every time I could, and that was mostly on my frigates, because I mostly I have only frigates and destroyers, and I have mostly frigates, so I ended up getting armor on my frigates quite a lot, and I lost very, very small amount of frigates. I ended up losing all of my destroyers from every tier, including the same tier of frigates I had, before I lost even like 20% of my frigates. So armor is very clearly a strong ability. It's not clear how much it affects stuff, but it is very clearly a very strong ability. Now, one big thing that holds this from being a god tier ship is this total HP needs to be bigger than 70%. Now, why does this matter? It's because you don't have any range buffs here. Now, if you were to accompany this with, I would actually say it's essential that you accompany this with another flagship that has a ranged buff, because you want to be surviving for as long as you can, so that you keep this buff active and you tank for your teammates as much as possible, with probably the frigates that you'll be using, because they'll be at the front being able to tank more. I probably wouldn't go cruisers with this fleet because it means that you're last to die and you're not able to really tank anything for your team. But yeah, and then we've got the rank 7 ability, which is just more armor, and all of these buffs added up, you're going to be one tanky guy. So I'm going to put this into A. I think this is a good ship. I personally, it doesn't fit in my fleets, and I'll get into why later, but it is good. Now, next up we have the Odysseus, which I've lost. There, it was right underneath. Now this, I'll admit, is my big unknown. I don't know how well assist ships play into the current meta of things, of having 2 flagships. Whether it's better to just go full attack, HP and armor, and shield, or get one of these assist ships in so that you get some extra buffs. Now, one problem that the Odysseus has, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, is that it's mixed. So if you have a focus fleet, which I recommend that you do, it's not going to be gaining as much. Now, that said, it's got some pretty trash abilities. The first, it's just pretty standard across the board, laser weapons with some buffs. Then we've got the first real ability. The second ability is leadership, and these numbers are awful. Max ranked 3000, that's okay, but these first two, which is likely what you'll be hovering around for most of your time, is pretty bad. 3000 as a support ship, this is respectable. So if you want to dump a lot of credits into it, yes, this is actually not that bad of a leadership ability. Then we've got this is where the mixed part comes in. You're getting frigates attacks to cruisers increase, destroyer attack to frigates increase, and cruisers attack to destroyers increase, which is just the rock paper scissors mechanic that this game has. And if you're running mix, this is obviously very good. 100% increase to that bonus, pretty good. I'm not sure what the base stats of that bonus is, but these seem pretty good if you have a mixed fleet. Then we've got this, again, I've touched on it before, ratio differences. Yeah, it could be good, it could be bad, I'm not sure. There needs to be a lot more experimentation done with these now that we have 2 fleet slots, 2 flagship slots. With 1 flagship slot, this is trash ship, but now that we have 2, it has potential. Then we get into this one, attack buff and armor buff, and it goes up to 100% again. And again, you'll be noticing when you compare it to other ships, this is pretty impressive. I think the developers, what they've done is they've been like, okay, so people don't really want to use assist ships or galler ships to do PvE, but what if they want to dump their money into it? Then they're screwed, right? So I think what they've done is they've put some pretty impressive buffs onto these ships so that people that have invested into them can use them for pretty much anything, and that's why this ship up here, the Achilles, might have this buff. Oops, I've lost it. This buff right here. It's another 100% increase. Sorry, the cat was going crazy there. So let's get back to the Odyssey. And then we're looking at this last ability. That's one of the highest numbers I've seen here. And this is where it gets interesting for me. So this is where I think this is potentially the thing that people are overlooking with this ship. So you see here, hit recovers some of your fleet's shield. Shield is of course the first thing that goes down, and every 14 seconds you're going to be recovering 10% or 20% of your shield with this hit. That to me seems very insane. I'm sure there's a doctrine that you can build up of ships that have a very high shield, and you can abuse this quite a lot, especially if this is a flat 10 and 20% to your total shield rather than like your missing shield, or this is a buff on top of other buffs kind of thing. So I feel like this has potential to be god tier. It just requires a lot more testing. So I think you should not be resetting this ship, certainly not resetting it, and I think it has potential to be god tier, but for now, while we're doing some more testing and figuring out where this ship actually lies, I'm going to put it into potentially B tier. I don't think it's a must-have. I don't think you should be spending real money on it until there's been some more testing done, but it is definitely the one to watch. This has potential to be the best ship in the game. It's just we need to figure out, does it fit as a secondary ship, and how much does this ability actually contribute over, say, a setup where it's this ship and its little brother, where you're getting loads of bonuses to the same stuff and you're just buffing and buffing and buffing. So yeah, it's one to watch. Next up, we've got the saddest ship of them all. It recently received a change, and I don't think the change has done it that much justice, because it's still got one huge flaw. You see here, this ability is pretty cool in the campaign, but other than that, this ship hasn't got much going for it. This attack, again, these are pathetic numbers for a legendary ship. This range, pathetic numbers, but this ability has a bigger problem. We go on to this one, we've got attack damage. Again, these numbers aren't great. Sure, max rank, this is 20% more than we've seen in other abilities, but it's not that good. And then we've got increased attack with other commanders. These are okay stats. I'm not going to bash these. These are decent. The only problem is it's in the last slot, which means it costs a lot to upgrade these, so you're going to be setting at 15, maybe 30% for the majority of your game. I'm not sure that's worth it. Now let's get into what we can look at this, but you can see the number here. This is a bad ability. Sure, this armor decrease, this has potential to be very good, especially given how much credit I've been given armor in the past, but no, 10% 10-second cooldown, that's pretty good. So maybe this ability is something that kind of redeems it, but let's get into why this is actually a very bad ship. So we've got here the range increase. Range, the only purpose range serves is that you're the first to attack and you're the last to be attacked, because your ships are now going to be sitting behind your ally ships. In solo, this isn't going to be a problem, of course, because you're always going to be getting attacked, but the reason that's a negative thing with this ship is this guy right here. When the total HP of your fleet is less than 70%, less, so not more, less, so you want to be taking damage, which is just a weird mechanic in itself. Why would you want to take damage to get a buff? I feel like it's trying to mimic the enrage that many games have, where you are low HP and then you get like a huge attack buff, but these numbers aren't that good, because some other ships, get these for no cost, minus a couple percent, sure, but it's just not that good. Solo, sure, you're not going to be having a problem getting any damage done to yourself, but no, this ability counteracts this ability, and this makes essentially two useless abilities. These are two wasted slots. That's awful. So yeah, this is going to be another legendary garbage ship for me. I just don't think anyone should be wasting their time with it. It's appalling that this is a legendary ship, and I highly suspect this is going to be receiving some buffs in the future, because it's just too bad to be believable. It is given away for free in events, so that might be one reason they don't want to make a free legendary ship too strong, but yeah, no. This is going to be another legendary garbage tier. You may be wondering, why are so many legendaries getting put into the garbage tier? It's because legendaries have an expectation to be better than the rest. If you've been given all of these abilities and you're flopping on that, I don't think that's a good thing. Okay, so let's go next. Up next we've got the little brother of the Titan, which is the Atlas. I'm not going to go into this too much. As I said before, when you downgrade a legendary to an elite, it loses a tier. I would say at least, in some cases 2, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, this is going into garbage as well, because you can't get less than garbage. We may as well fill in the other ones here. So we've got the Apollo. Apollo is just the Odyssey, but less. Given that the best part of the Odyssey is the potentially the last ability, I would actually say this is downgraded 2 slots. So that's going to be a D tier. And then we've got the Nemesis, which is just our Athena but less, so we're going to put that into E. Potentially garbage tier. If you get it, like, you get it for free essentially. I think you should reset it, but if you've got no other flagships, just use it. So it would hover in between garbage and E for me, to be honest. Leaning towards garbage, but give it the benefit of the doubt, so I'm not putting too much into garbage. It's also one of these ships where it might have potential. I feel like it is definitely going to be getting some changes in the future, just given that the new mechanic is here of 2 flagships, and this is important for that. But for now, as it stands, this is E going towards garbage. You know what? Yeah, no, we're going to leave it in E. Then we've got this. We're just going to throw that in below. Actually, let's have a look. I'm not even going to try Theseus, I think. Hephaestus, maybe. Let's just remind ourselves of this last ability. It's good, but it's not the main thing. This is the main thing. Now let's go quickly and look here. That's half. So yeah, I would actually lower it by 2. So it's going to be a C tier. Then we are looking at some new ships. So I'm going to look at one ship I think has been slept on quite a lot in the community. I see people disregarding this as a bad ship, the Achilles, but let's have a look. So base stats, pretty good base stats when you compare it to other ships. Obviously not as tanky or not doing as much damage as ones that are meant for PvP or PvE, but these are respectable base stats. We've got abilities here. That's not a great ability, but we've got this Galler speed up. This pretty good. If you get this to 100%, you're half in your time. Granted, that is on top of the other 200%-ish that you will have at this point, but yeah, this is still respectable numbers. This isn't 7%, this isn't 10%. You're going to be getting this up passively over time as well, from events and from the campaign store. So I would say this is a decent ability. This is the one that we've touched on before. Max rank, this is 100% increase to PvE. I'd hazard to say that this is the second best PvE ship in the game, just because of this buff. If you're getting it to max rank, and I think you should be getting it to max rank because it's going to be your best Galler ship. I'll show you why next. We've got this, the planet development all resources output bonus. Starts off at 36%, that's pretty good. Max is 200%. 200% from planets. Now, if you remember, planets use these planet energy, and there's no cap to how much you can resource within that energy, right? Other than your load bonus, or your load for your ships. So this bonus, this isn't speed, this isn't load bonus, this isn't less energy or something, this is you're getting a bonus of all the resources you're gathering, which is going to be a lot from a full stack of planet gathering, and you're getting 200% on top of that. That is very good. Sure, if you're one of these people that don't gather and you just buy, this is of course not a good. This is a waste of an ability. So if you're not into gathering, obviously this is bad. But anyone that gathers, this is a must-have. Then we've got HP increase. It's pretty standard. Surprised to see it on a gathering ship, but it is of course the hunt variant of a gathering ship. And then we've got the final ability. It's nothing really to talk about. Low cooldown, but the attack increase and the debuff is not that good. But accompanied with this guy, Bolt, this ship is insane. So you're getting a load bonus, which is important for planet gathering, remember, and then you're getting another bonus to your planet output bonus. So this is definitely, for me, definitely a must-have ship. Anyone that says otherwise either doesn't gather and they have no use for it in the gathering sector, or they just don't know the game very well and they haven't realised this 100% increase to PvE content. So this, for me, this is going to be the leader of my secondary fleet for PvE content, I think. Potentially third fleet when I eventually get my Prometheus. Now we're going to go on to this ship. No, Artemis. Now, the Artemis, at least on my server, is very clearly the best ship in the game. There's no other way to put it. This is an outstanding ship. It has everything in its favour. It has a good crew layout. Now you notice here I'm actually using Michael. I'm not using the legendary crew member, which I haven't unlocked, but I could have unlocked him. This guy here, he gives a bonus to frigates, but that bonus is respectable in a crew slot, not a captain slot. So you've got two guys going for you, plus all the other buffs that you can get from crew. Then you've got warship armor. If we're looking back at previous ships, this is more than double some of those other numbers we've been seeing. So this is a very respectable number. We've got we've got the frigate armor. Again, very respectable numbers. Total shield, again, very respectable numbers. Then we've got, this is where it kind of falls off a bit, but again, respectable numbers here. These aren't bad numbers, and even though it's navigation speed, it's still very good, especially because it's a frigate ship. Now, frigates, they're at the front, so they're going to be taking the most damage. You're getting all these buffs to your tank. You're going to be tanking for your team a lot. Your team's going to be taking less damage thanks to you tanking. And then frigates are naturally faster than all the other ships, so you're getting a bonus to this. So this 9% increase to navigation speed means a lot more than a 9% increase to a cruiser navigation speed, for example. Anyone that you see with a high level Artemis is going to be shooting across the galaxy map in no time. Then finally, we've got the last ability. This damage increase is the lowest we've seen so far, though the cooldown is also the lowest we've seen so far, and this effect 85% increase to frigate armor and 170% increase to frigate armor. Very respectable numbers, and it's going to be happening for 4 seconds every 9 seconds, so you've only got 5 seconds of downtime there. Very good. This is going to be going off like 4, maybe 5 times in a big fight, especially since you're a tanking ship. This is a very good ability to have. So I don't think there's any question about it. Even if we're I'm trying to find something. I can't actually open the base stats for this because it's deployed, I think. No, the button's just gone.
Flagship.
There we go. Even the base stats, very good. There's nothing I can find that is bad about this ship. Nothing at all. So again, this is a god tier ship. If you can afford to pay the entry fee to get this ship, which is either VIP shop or saving up some campaign tokens, because you can get it in the campaign, another crucial thing that you can get it, free-to-play players can get it, big thing. This is another must-have ship. I'm going to put this in front of everything else because I think this is the best ship in the game. Especially since older players, they are fixated on cruisers being the best because they used to be the best. Frigates beat cruisers, so it just makes it all the better. I'm going to quickly put the Orion in there. That's going to be A, just because it's the same as the Artemis, but it loses this ability. It's a good ability, but it's not what makes it great. It's the crew upgrades. It's everything that makes the Artemis great. So that's why it only loses 1 tier. Of course, it's not going to be God tier because it doesn't have that last ability, but it's still a very good ship to have. Then we're going to go on to well, we may as well rank this little guy here. Let's get him on screen. Where is he? I think I've actually got him deployed. I do. Again, this is just the stats aren't that great, but I got this for free. I didn't pay anything for these buffs, this rank, so it's good to have, I guess. Once you unlock this, you of course get an increase to planet gathering, so I would put this as a secondary to your Achilles when you're going planet gathering, so you get an even bigger bonus. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't say this is a bad ship. I wouldn't say it's as good as B tier, but we'll put it in C. I definitely wouldn't reset it. I would just keep gathering for this, because it's a respectable increase here, but this is the one that you want. You just want that little bit extra. Of course, if you do not gather, this is a trash tier ship. Do not bother with this ship. Reset it. Then we're going on to my personal favourite ship, and that's not because it's good, it's because it's cool. It's the Hades. Hades has very good base stats, and unfortunately it falls off in its abilities and its crew layout. Now, there's no legendary crew member for destroyers yet. There is for frigates, that's why the Artemis is so good. There is an elite crew member. Right now I've got Laura in here just because I like her leadership buff for now, while I'm ranking up other things. You'll see that in a later video. I've got a lot to unbox, but yeah, these we'll just go through it. This ability is a pretty trash ability. You definitely don't want to be using this ship in the campaign. Very bad. We've got the navigation speed and leadership. This absolute wasted slot. I'm very sad that the Hades has it. It is of course primarily a mobility ship, so it's going to have some navigation speed in there to fit with its purpose, but this is completely useless. This is a lost ability in my eyes. So we're just going to move on. We're going to look at the attack. These are respectable numbers, not great, but not awful. We've got the navigation speed again, another wasted ability, so that's 3 potential buffs that have been wasted on navigation speed in my eyes. And navigation speed, sure, if you are in high speed battles where you're trying to catch people, you're trying to get to places as fast as possible, sure, this could be good, but in general, in my experience in the game so far, it hasn't been a necessity, and I have to give it another minus for this. Shield, it's just the same kind of buffs as we're seeing here, but 1 up. Then we've got, this is where it kind of makes up for it, but not really, because the stats are horrible. 6.1%. This is our penultimate ability here, and we're getting 6.1%. Not good, not good. Then we've got the final ability. These are respectable increases, but for the final ability, this is awful. Once again, I would not advise this. Now, I would say it's my favourite ship. I think it's the coolest looking ship, and I invested into it originally because I foresaw the Artemis being the strongest ship, and given that this is a rock paper scissors mechanic game, destroyers beats frigates. but in the case of the Artemis is just too good. It is too good. So the Artemis, I am pretty confident, maxed out Hades, maxed out Artemis, the Artemis is still going to win, even though the Hades is meant to counter it. But yeah, more testing could be done. I hope that they change these abilities, especially this one. It's such wasted opportunity. Early game, it's not that bad, but right now, in the mid or late game, it's awful. So I'm sad to say this is going to be a B, maybe C tier ship. I'm going to put it in B because I think it looks cool, and this is my opinion, of course, but in reality it's leaning towards C. And of course I'm not going to try and pronounce this guy's name. This loses everything gets halved. This is going down 2 tiers. It's losing too much. Actually, no, I'd put it in D. It's not completely awful. If you happen to get it from events, sure, just stack them up, but no, there's far better things to get. It's going to be our worst D tier ship for sure. Now we're moving on to the big one, the one that has been the hot topic for discussion in my alliance. It is, of course, I've lost it. Cyclops. There it is. It's because it kind of looks like the Prometheus. Now this is an attack ship, and it is the cruiser ship. Previously, this was the best ship in the game, without a doubt, before any changes happened back a couple months ago, right? Now, not good. It is it is still good, but it is not the best, and the reason for that is there's no cruiser legendary crew member, and once again, the Artemis is just too strong. The Artemis, in my eyes, needs a nerf. Because the Artemis is too strong, and frigates counter cruisers, this has to be demoted. This has to be an A tier ship, because it's just getting outclassed by the Artemis. But anyway, let's look at its abilities, because some of them are in a sorry state. We start off with the 9% increase to attack. It's awful. It's total attack instead of cruiser. I feel like this should be doubled and made cruiser only. I'm not sure why they thought this was a good thing to put here. Then we've got a pretty good bonus here. We're getting cruisers attacks frigates. Now this makes it so frigates aren't absolutely dominating cruisers, and it goes up to 200%. This redeems it slightly, and this makes it a pretty good ship when dealing with the Artemis. Ironically, this makes this a better ship when dealing with the Artemis than the Hades, in my opinion. Then we're looking at these aren't great stats. Increases to cruiser attack and HP. It is 2 of them, so sure you could argue that it's benefiting from 2 things at the same time, but it's not great stats. Then we're getting another attack increase, but only if your HP is higher than 70. And once again, we're going to go have a look through here. We're not getting any range increases, so that means you're going to be attacked fairly early. However, cruisers sit behind everyone else's. Frigates first, then destroyers, then cruisers. So cruisers are the last to be attacked. However, there's so many ships here, so many flagships here with ranged buffs. I'm a bit worried about other ships potentially going behind your cruisers. So I would definitely still accompany this with something that has a ranged buff. I'm not sure. I'm going to be looking into some combinations later on. But yeah, this is a little bit concerning, but not too concerning. Then we've got its final ability. This is a pretty average increase here. The cooldown is pretty large compared to others, I would say. And then the attack. This is a respectable increase, but there's other ones that are better. So I wouldn't say this is God tier, but I would definitely say it's A tier. And now we're coming up to the last ship, the Brontes. Now, this is an interesting one. So you'll notice the highest ranked ship I've got for elites is Orion, and that's only because the Artemis is good. I think, however, this is better than it. I think this is where you maybe should be spending your elite credits. I think this is a good substitute for free-to-play players. So if you're a free-to-play player, I think this is the best ship other than going with an Artemis Orion combo that you can get. So I want to put it in a potentially god tier. Now, of course, this is god tier relative to how well it performs as an elite ship, not compared to any of these. So I'll bump it down just a little bit. I'm going to put it here. I think it's better than the Cyclops. Now, the reason I think it's better than the Cyclops is we've already got a lot of high tier legendaries. Now, you can only spend these Federation legendary credits on a limited number of stuff, right? You don't have that many credits, and it gets pretty expensive. You don't want to be putting this here and having to spend on 5 different legendary ships. You want to be balancing this out a bit. And for that reason, I would say that if you're not going with an Artemis, then the Brontes is probably the thing that you should invest your epic credits into. That, or this guy right here, who I'm actually going to move up. I'm going to move him up. Now, let's just, oops, that's the wrong thing. Let's just make this a little bit bigger on screen so you can see a bit clearer. And actually we'll go through the stats first. So stats is everything that the Cyclops has, but halved essentially. And it of course doesn't have the last ability. The last ability I didn't think was that good, so I don't think it's losing that much. But when you have nothing to spend for your epic credits, this may as well be the thing that you spend it on. Now, I will caveat that and say, in the future, I do expect them to release an epic version of the Achilles. If that comes out, that's probably where I'm going to redistribute my stuff, because I want to increase my gathering and have a good gathering and PvE ship. But right now, we're looking for things to spend our epic credits on. I would say it's either the Orion or the Brontes, depending on what type of ship that you like. And if you're not sure, if you want to go for a mix, then the Theseus is your other option. This is your safe option. It's good stats all around. Not great, but it's something to spend those credits on. So yeah. So to summarize, let's get this on screen. The Artemis, by far the best ship in the game. I think it is so good that it definitely needs a nerf from the developers, and I expect it to be coming. But for now, as this video is getting made, this is without a doubt the best ship in the game for PvP and PvE. Maybe not PvE, but for PvP, definitely the best ship in the game. Then we've got the Prometheus. This is by far the best PvE ship in the game. I would not use this in PvP. Unless you have no other options, but this is by far the best PvE ship. You're going to be using it as your main campaign ship, and you're going to be using it for all your events once you get it max ranked. Achilles, that's one of those ships that has been slept on. The bonuses to gathering speed and gathering planet bonus is just insane if you are someone that gathers, and it gives a 100% increase to PvE battles for your attack. So definitely a god tier ship. These are free ships that everyone should have in the current state of the game. If the Artemis is nerfed, of course that comes down, and no matter what, you should be having the Prometheus and the Achilles as your top tier ships. Then we're moving into the A rank. We've got the Poseidon. This, as I've shown, is potentially one of the the best ships if you don't have the Artemis. And I'm not sure why you would have the Poseidon instead of the Artemis, but its increases to defense is very good. Now, I will say, if you are going for cruisers, this is your preferred secondary ship. The armor increase to your cruisers will be amazing. Of course, not that good because cruisers are the last to be attacked, but it is still something. Then we've got the Orion, just because it accompanies Artemis. We've already talked about the Brontes. It's just another thing to put your epic credits into. Then we've got the Odysseus. It's potentially god tier ship. I'm putting it here because I'm not sure. I want to stress that I am not sure where this should go, because the last ability in it has potential to be the best ability in the entire game and completely broken. It's just it requires more testing. So I'm putting it here because I'm not sure. No matter what, it is not worse than here. I would lean on putting it into A. If this ability turns out to be as good as I think it actually might be, then it's a god tier. But to be safe and not to mislead people, I'm going to put it into B. Of course, join our Discord, keep up with the discussions, and find out if this is actually a ship to have. Then we've got the Hades. Unfortunately, not a good ship. I want it to be the best ship in the game because it looks cool. It's massive on the map, and I think destroyers need a buff, but it is not that good. It's the worst combat legendary ship, I would say, other than these guys down here, which don't even want to talk about again. The Theseus, it's the same as Poseidon. It's getting those same increases but halved. So if you can't get a Poseidon, get this guy, put him in your secondary slot, get that armor buff. If you are going destroyers, I'd probably say these two guys right here, put them together, or these two. If you're going frigates, I'd say Artemis and Orion, or Artemis and Odysseus, or Artemis and Theseus. That's the thing. The Artemis is just too good. It goes with too much stuff. So even if they were to nerf the Orion, if they were to nerf the Poseidon, the Artemis still benefits from any of the other ships. It's an all good, well-rounded ship. Then we've got the Jason. Everyone's going to have it. Everyone should keep it unless they don't gather. Then you can reset it. Hercules, it's going to carry you through the early game, but once you are into the mid/late game, that's when you're just about to get into the core, you're going to want to reset this after you've got as far as you can in the campaign. This little guy, it's like the Artemis. If you can get it to a higher rank for free, do it. Athena, again, assist ships. Don't know their place in the game just now with the double flagship meta, but as I see it just now, it's not that good, even if you put it there, just because there's so many other better options. That's where it falls. If all of these weren't so good, this would be higher up as an assist ship. Apollo, again, it's Odysseus. Not going to go through these. The Argo, it's free. You probably have it at a decent rank. I'm personally going to reset it. Actually, I'll do that right now. I will reset my Argo for you. Oops, that's the wrong button. There we go. Because it's just not, it's deployed. I can't. But I will reset my Argo. For me, I've reset my Argo. I've reset my Hercules. I have, what else did I reset? I reset something else. I don't remember. And unfortunately, I've came to the decision that I'm going to reset my Hades, even though I like it so much. I've spent real money on it. There's just so many other better options for me. Anyway, Nemesis, it's leaning towards trash tier. I don't see a place for it in this game. Actually, you know what? It's going trash tier. I don't care. It's going trash tier. It's not a good ship. Then we've got the garbage tier. These are just underwhelming stats, or in the case of the Titan and the Atlas, it's abilities that counter each other. Your range is countering your need to go below 70%, and why would you want to go below 70% to get a mediocre buff at best? It's not, even if those stats were doubled, I'd question if it's a good ability or not. It's just not good. this, again, it's a heated discussion in our alliance, and in my personal opinion, it is not a good ship. There's far better options for you. Anyway, this has been a very long video. I hope I've gave some insight into ships, and I hope you all appreciate such a long video, all done in pretty much one take. I will be cutting some bits out here and there, but yeah, hour long video it's looking like. Wow. And of course, tell me what you think. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? What mistakes have I made, and what would you change about the list? Let me know in the comments section. And yeah, let me know what your favourite ship is. My favourite ship, in terms of looks, is definitely the Hades, but the Artemis does look kind of cool as well. I just don't like that lots of people have it. So yeah, let me know what your favourite ship is and what fleets you'll be running. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video, I guess. Join our Discord, join our alliance, use the promotion code, TheDJBuntin, in the game to get some free stuff. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.